Hello and welcome to Red Bull Remix Lab. This is where your favorite producer comes in and remixes a track for you live right here. My name's Anna Lunoe. We are coming to you from Santa Monica at the Red Bull Studios. Where are you right now? Hit us in the chat and let us know. I'm joined by Grammy-nominated producer and artist TOKiMONSTA.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you in here.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
So tell us about the track that you chose to remix today.
So this song is called High Hopes. It's by this amazing new and up-and-coming artist by the name of Rosehardt. The song will be released on a compilation that I curated on my label, Young Art Records. So basically, I'm really excited to see what happens to this artist. I think he has an amazing career ahead of him, and because I love the song so much, I decided to put my spin on it. Right now, we're listening to the original.
Cool. Very, very vibey. Did he produce this himself?
Yes, I think so,
Okay,
yeah.
the vocals, production, everything?
Yes.
Cool. So when you listen to this, what do you want to take from it? Do you have it in your mind what you want to do?
You know, it's interesting. So I just downloaded the stems yesterday. I know the song. It's really musical. It's in a very specific key.
Right.
What I'm planning to do, and what I always do with all my remixes, is usually abandon all the instrumentals.
Okay.
So I only take the vocals, and then I take my own spin. Sometimes I'll reimagine the entire track melodically, so different chord progressions, everything. Or sometimes I might mimic some important aspects of the song. But for this one, I think I'm going to ditch everything.
Wow, okay.
Except the vocals.
We got some work to do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
let's talk through the setup a little bit, actually. So we've got
Okay.
some really fun toys here.
Okay, so for my current setup, this is kind of like my go-to even at home. I have a complete control right here, 49 keys, pretty much good enough. This is the Maschine Mk3, the new one that came out. And this is a Microkorg. I have the XL at home, so I'll be playing with this. I mean, the main thing is just getting some nice sounds and an organic play. I mean, I think a lot of producers, especially ones at home, they might not have any of this gear, and
Right.
I don't think any of it is necessary.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you want to, you can use your keyboard on your laptop or your computer and use that as a MIDI keyboard. People drum on that. You can also...
The microphone's pretty good on the
Yeah, not
laptop.
bad, you know?
Sounds good.
And you can also use your computer to just draw in piano roll too.
Right.
You know, and like I know tons of people just have folders of chord progressions because they might not know music theory, and then they just drop in chords and see what fits, and I think that's okay as well. But one approach to this song, because it's in a particular key, I might end up pitch shifting a lot of the vocals
Okay.
to fit an aesthetic that I'll be going for. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just anticipating kind of reimagining the whole thing and making the song quite different from the original.
Right.
So.
And we've got the complete control, we've got the machine, we've got the Korg vocoder keyboard, and then you're using
I'm using Ableton, yes. So originally I started off with, okay, and the song ended. Originally I started off with Fruity Loops, and it's kind of a nice standard for people beginning. I think there was more of a stigma around FL Studio Fruity Loops in the beginning, but now so many respectable producers use it that, you know, it is an amazing program. I do miss it a lot. I think in the beginning, when I started using Ableton, I really liked using the drum racks and like how to drum program in Ableton or in Fruity Loops. But now I'm here and now I have this, and yeah, so
I'm gonna make it work.
yeah, let's do this.
What do you guys think of this song? Like, if you were remixing this song, what parts would you choose? What would you put in it? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll take some of your ideas as well.
Yep.
Okay, so.
And the one thing that I forgot to mention is mic. So one thing I really like to do in my production is record. And usually I have a field recorder. I'll be out in the world and I'll record sounds, and I like integrating them into my music, whether it's for percussion or for drums. And in this case, we have, you know, we brought like various things from the canteen here, like this, little sounds. So I'm hoping that everyone out there in the Twitch world can make some suggestions on what they think would make really good drum sounds. And yeah, will literally take recommendations from you guys on what we should record for. You can recommend a snare sound, some hi-hat sounds, and like a kick drum, and we'll record it and I'll integrate it into the song.
Let us know.
So yeah, I'm gonna begin right now with, like I said, just the vocals. So I am scrapping every single component of the original. I'm not taking the drums. I'm not taking the synths or the sample that was in it. Just the vocals. And for me, I usually, okay, right now I'm using the wet vocals. So I was given two groups of stems. One's dry and one's wet. So the dry stems typically mean that the stems have no effects on them, no distortion, no compression, nothing. And the wet stems are the vocals as you hear them in the track. And I'm actually going to work with the wet stems. So this has all the effects.
A lot of distortion.
Yeah, exactly. So I am not manipulating these. These have already been affected. But I think so much of the aesthetic of this song involves how it was presented, which is with the distortion, with this kind of saturation. Oh, so the cat, sorry. You guys on the chats are now all cats now to me.
Kitty cats.
Asking
Meow.
for a cowbell. We don't have one.
This is gonna act as a cowbell, obviously.
This is called a human bell when you want to call humans over.
Yeah.
Just put
true.
coffee in there.
Yeah.
So
This we'll have to do.
Yeah.
Or if you have any other ideas, if you want me to hit the spoon on the salt or the can, just let us know.
Yeah.
Half can. Okay. Yep. Okay, we'll try that. You guys want a half can of Red Bull hit for a drum sound? I think that would sound good as well. We will definitely do that.
Okay.
But first, we're going to start with the vocals and work our way to the Red Bull can.
So, okay, so let's listen. So I pulled out all the instrumental, and I don't know if anyone was paying attention. The song is really repetitive. So with vocals or songs, there's like A section, a B section. There's like pre-choruses, choruses, or hooks, or can be known as the drop. There's always post-chorus or post-hook as well. So me as a remixer, I can really choose, to not have all my files synced to my Dropbox right now, and choose which parts I want to keep, because I might not want to keep the entire song. In this case, I know with a lot of people, we have the ability to start with drums or with keys. For me, even though I have these vocals, I'm gonna leave them pretty full. I'm not gonna do like glitchy effects or things like that. That always comes after. I wanna hear which parts I like. And for me, let's start with this part that's not playing. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna loop this one section of the first verse. It's gonna go over and over. I already established that the BPM is 115, and I'm already thinking in my mind right now, 115 is really good for kind of like slower house stuff. I mean, I could also make it more halftime and make it more of like a hip hop beat too. But I'm thinking ahead. I actually really want to start with melody, if that's okay, and start with the chords I want to put in this track. So let's see. Baby, I know that this love got you strong and dripping, but so I'm gonna start with the first four bars. Baby, I know. This part's gonna get a little repetitive, I'm really sorry. So it's gonna keep looping while I try to find some chords.
So when you're gonna listen to this melody, what are you listening for to inspire the chords?
Main thing that I find chords that are in key. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And then kind of like how I want to flip it, right? So the song was kind of uplifting, a little happy. That's the original. And when I remix a song, I really want to present it in a way that it wasn't in the original. And the lyrics in the song are, I mean, the song's called High Hopes. It's a very loving song, and it might not sound the most turnt, but I feel like I want to use more pensive chords and find more emotion.
Yes.
Because the lyrics are highly emotional. The song itself is presented originally in a bit more of like a fun, like groovy way. So let's see.
Let's get deep.
All right, you guys, I'm not a professional piano player anymore.
Anymore? Were you like...
No mistakes. Our prompter guys being very nice.
There
I'll do
is
my
no
best.
such thing as mistakes, because sometimes the things where you feel like you messed up and then you listen back to it and you're like, this is kind of the best part, I'm going to leave this in. But also, this woman right here has done 5 albums, full length, 7 EPs.
I have a lot of music out.
Countless remixes and singles. This is not her first time at a keyboard, so.
Ooh.
What key is the track in?
I think it's in some kind of E minor, but then I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
I am just going to find notes at work. So that's the other thing. You know, music theory is so particular, and not everyone has that. And especially as a professional musician, the more musicians you're around, the more you realize no one knows what they're doing. And
It's true.
when it's, for example, when it's me and I'm actually working with session musicians that are just like jazz guitarists and they know all this theory and they're like, is this an inverted scale, or is this like, what is this, pentatonic, or is this a Phrygian scale, and that kind of shit. I literally am just like, that's not the right chord. Can you like play it a little different, or one note up and one note down? So, I mean.
And sometimes the chord can be right according to the rules, but it sounds completely wrong to you. Do you ever find
Exactly.
that?
And
Yeah.
also there's this esoteric component where just because in theory it should be one way, it prevents you from thinking outside the box. And that's what I learned as a classical musician. I just felt like a glorified cover artist.
Right.
You know, I was just playing Schubert. I didn't really learn a lot about theory at the time. I was just taught how to play things.
Right. And you kind of have to unlearn that, right? And learn what you want to write.
Exactly. And at this point, I've unlearned a lot of it.
Right. A proud unlearner. You got to learn the rules to break them, they say.
Okay. So these root notes I really like. Again, this is only the first 4 bars.
And you're working with a piano sound now, so you get the notes right, but then will you change the sound?
Yeah, so right
Okay.
now I'm working in MIDI, so it gives me the opportunity to switch up the sounds.
Yeah.
And eventually if I want to, like if I decide to use this is a little mini synth, so I won't be able to change it after I record it, though I can cut it up and manipulate it. But establishing the chords right now
For
will
writing
be
purposes, yeah.
good. Let's see. And let's see. Let's turn the metronome on. And let's start from here. I wish I could tell jokes, but I'm really bad at multitasking.
Does anyone have any jokes? Put them in the comments, I'll read them out. They're funny.
All right, let's keep those.
There's a mood. Mood change going on.
And switching it up real quick. Let's have this loop. And really simple. I'm just going to quantize what I did right now.
So quantizing is when you play it in organically and then you put you quantize the MIDI so that it gets on the grid of the song, so it's in time with everything.
Yeah. And my buffer size right now is 128, so it's pretty low latency, so I'm trying to keep it as accurate as possible. Obviously, I didn't play those chords in really on time. I don't like to quantize everything, so like with the drums, once we get to that, I'll try to keep it as unquantized as possible just to get that energy of movement. You know, sometimes music can be really rigid with the quantize on, but sometimes even with quantize on, you can still have a lot of energy and movement. It just depends on placement at that point.
And rhythm too.
Turn that off.
Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to the pro gamers watching. And shout out to the people who can't game at all, like me. Hopeless. In case you've just joined in, this is TOKiMONSTA. My name's Anna Lunoe, and you are watching the Red Bull Remix Lab. This is where your favorite artist comes in and makes a remix right here, live. Nothing is planned. She's just doing this right now for us. It's very cool. We want your input. We want your input. We want your input. If you've got any good ideas, put them in the comments. We might even use some of them.
Okay, so I found my first little loop. Let's see. So yeah, you know, I'm sure it's like this with a lot of musicians, but when you're kind of in the groove, it could also just be really uninteresting. So, you know, I always get really self-conscious. I'm just like, oh, I'm making music in front of people. I'm not shy. I love sharing my process when I can, but it's also like, I'm not super interesting. I'm just like sitting here on my computer. And we're talking about that earlier, this idea of just like cutting and pasting and undoing and pressing a note and shifting MIDI notes and things like that.
No, but that's what you guys want, right? You want to see all those little tiny things, because at the end of the day, it's all about little choices that make a song what it is. Yeah. Especially with a remix where you've got a little bit to work with and you're adding in these little choices. People are saying that they can hear a bit of a Kaytranada vibe come in on this.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
Oops. All right. And the loop always goes off.
I've worked with a lot of people who don't have half the piano chops you have, though. So you've got to feel very confident about your abilities walking into a session, knowing that you really can play an instrument, which a lot of dance producers can't.
You know what it is? It's like you just have to be able to play, you know, well enough where you can have, well, like you can get your point across. Yes. And I find like sometimes the musicians that I know that really don't know anything about music theory, they come up with the most unique ideas.
Right.
To the point where I really envy that. It's like, I can't think about sounds as being dissonant as okay. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, that note, it really bothers me.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe that note gives it character.
Yes.
You know, and that's why you have a lot of producers right now that are so seasoned, so intelligent, so well knowledgeable, knows all the skills, knows all the scales, and everyone's music tends to sound really similar.
Yeah. Because
of that, you know? And it's like that one dude that can't play piano, he has something else or that makes him special, or the one woman that can go on a drum machine and be like, no one ever taught me. I just figured it out for myself and come up with something more original than anyone else.
Right. Get out of your way there. You just get into it. We'll just hang out. We're just watching. We're just, don't pretend we're not here.
So right now the vocals are really low because, you know, they should be, because like if you're going to go and mix everything down at the end or get it mastered, everything should be coming out of your master bus at like -6 to 7 dB or LUFS or whatever.
What is this that you're using right now?
I just opened up Nectar, and it's a plugin made by Isotope. It's kind of like an all-in-one vocal plugin, so it's really useful for people that, you know, may not know how to mix their own vocals down. It makes it super easy. It has all these little modules, so there's pitch, gate, harmony, saturation, EQ, compressors, a de-esser, which is really great if you don't have a good microphone. Helps cut out the sibilants, like the T's and the S's that are really sharp. It has a limiter, FX, delay, reverb. So for now, since I'm not planning to probably mix this song right now, I want it to just sound good out of these speakers. I'm going to actually probably put a compressor on these vocals so they're a little louder and more present in the mix.
Is this one kind of your favorite, your go-to first step for vocals?
You know, not all the time, but I feel like in a time crunch like this, it's easy because it has everything.
Right.
You know, I don't have to go and look up a specific plate reverb that I need. It's like, it just needs to sound good right now. And that's also like when you're in studio sessions, you can always mix it down later. You can always change your plugins later, but the moment you have with someone else, if you're working with them, now is the moment to just be like, let's get this idea down.
Yes.
You know, let's see what we can do at this moment. So.
Okay. That is a catchy vocal. It's already like...
It is really good, right? So that's the thing. I haven't decided what I want to do, like this whole idea of like pitching, distorting, cutting up vocals. For me, it's not something, well, it depends on project by project, right? But with this one, I think the vocals are really beautiful. I want to keep them. I just want to enhance them with different music. And so it's not maybe the most traditional way. Like dance remixes, usually people want to kind of fuck up the vocals or just keep pieces of it.
Right.
But also sometimes dance remixes have all the vocals in it too. So in this version...
Sometimes the label will tell you, you have to keep the vocal the way
That's
it is.
actually very true. That's why like I have a lot of remixes I've made for certain people and they'll never come out because...
But you'll hear them in your sets.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even anything that's bad. It's just like sometimes I want to take a lot of, like I put a very strong footprint on the music that I make. Okay, so this is something that we'll test out right now. Now I've extended out the vocal, so it's 8 bars. So for this first verse, it's actually 16 bars. So it's 8 and then there's 8, but it repeats, the melody repeats, the lyrics has changed. So if I can find these chords that will match the first 8, then I just copy and paste for the second. See, that doesn't work. Okay, so those are not, they don't work, right? Very obvious. But, you know, with the power of Ableton, or, you know, you can use Melodyne, Autotune, all those things, you can make it fit. So my easy way is, let's see. Whoops. Okay.
So you're going to make this vocal fit with your chords that you just
exactly.
wrote.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to transpose it.
Transposing is when you change the pitch.
Let's see. See, that sounds nice, right?
Yeah.
And that one's wrong. And so it's probably the same. Just move it down one semitone.
You could also go up with it.
I think maybe just one.
Place for you. I got no place for you.
That's good. Okay, just going up a little bit. And also, you know, like you're humming these harmonies. What I do a lot in almost all the songs I have with vocals, I always create additional artificial harmonies. So I'll take maybe doubles or whatever that the vocalist has done, and then I'll go and create, I'll manually make additional harmonies just like I'm doing right now. Like I'll take this, I might copy all these over again into a new track, and then pitch them down maybe 4 semitones or like whichever to kind of create, maybe like add a 5th or something like that.
And if you don't have a great ear for chords or something like that, there are some amazing apps that have like built-in chord, like vocal chords, and you can just whack it on.
Okay, let's copy these guys over.
How would you describe your sound, do you think? It's so hard to describe music, like, it's the worst.
Yeah, I think as an artist, you almost don't want to,
Yeah,
right? Because you're like, oh, I make dubstep. That means
Yeah.
that's all you can make, right? You know, if you say, this is the artist that I am, I make one specific thing, it doesn't give you the opportunity to make other things. And so, I mean, generally when people ask, I just say, you know, it's kind of like electronic music, but it's also very much like soul, R&B, and hip hop, you know? So whatever falls underneath the umbrella, I will always make.
Right.
You know?
I like the word adjacent. So you can say like, oh, it's R&B and soul adjacent.
Oh, see?
Isn't it a good word? Because it kind of means everything, but also nothing.
Something.
Great.
Yeah, so that's a good way to not answer the question.
Evasion.
Yeah. So let's see.
Baby, I know that this love got you strong and dripping, but I've got no place for you.
Oops, that was my bad.
I've got no place for you.
That sounds good.
Honey, I know.
See, it gets you in your feels, right?
It does, those heartstrings.
So now we're in that, like, of the 16 bars, the latter 8, and so it's happening again because the melody repeats that it's not on key. So I'm going to go in and do the same thing again, find them, and do some.
The chat is saying that the way that you tweak each syllable is like poetry. That's so lovely.
That's really nice.
You should start calling yourself a poet. A sonic poet. That's how I'm going to introduce you next time. I have to introduce you.
Sonic poet, I like that. Yeah. No, good. Gotta fix it. You know? And it's in moments like these too, right? Like it sounds really off key, so we're fixing it, but I feel like maybe there could be someone out there that would hear this and be like, oh, I like it because it sounds dissonant and it's off in a really beautiful way. And yeah, so I love consuming music in that way. Like I love consuming the idea of other people because beyond anything, beyond the music that I make, and I'm sure the same is for you, it's like I love music. I love consuming music. I love listening to other people's music. I'm inspired by the artistry that other people like kind of present. And yeah.
It can be hard as a musician sometimes when people ask you for your feedback on their tracks and they've done something that you wouldn't do, but you can't always tell because it's so making these chords, like the decisions that somebody makes in this moment is so personal. So who are you to tell them that that chord is wrong? You know, that
exactly.
If it feels good to them and if that's their favorite part of the song, then that's their favorite part of the song.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things too is music is so personal. Like I really only get feedback on my music from maybe like 3 people.
Right.
I don't show unfinished music to anyone really. And it's because, you know, I'm self-conscious, not everyone understands where I'm coming.
Who are those 3 people?
One is Lewis.
Okay. Lewis is her manager.
Yeah, and then one is my friend Mike Gao, and then another one is my friend Ed. And I think for the most part, I still don't show them anything until way later. And I never really show people music unless I have a question. And mostly, like when I ask Lewis, I'm like, hey, Lewis, do you think the snare is too loud?
Right.
They're always mixed questions. I don't like really asking people for creative questions.
Yeah, that's
but I
good
think
feedback.
I think that's not a good quality that I have. I think you can gain so much from getting the feedback of others if you're open towards it, because so much comes from collaboration. But I really don't collaborate with a lot of other producers. I tend to have a lot of ownership over that side. I've worked with tons and tons of like singers and songwriters, but I think that actually goes back to, hold on. Because I'm a female producer, I didn't want to attribute any of my music to someone else.
That they could then be like, Oh, well, that guy's
Yeah.
pulling all the strings.
Which isn't fair because, like, you know, guys can produce with each other and they do a
Yes.
collab track. People be like, oh, this sounds equally that guy and that
Yeah.
guy. But, you know, when I get into a room with someone, even if I do a majority of the work, for some reason, most of the
Credit.
will go to the dude.
yeah.
Which is changing now, you know, but I've been making music for so long and I've become so sensitive about it. So, like, I'm trying to change that up and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's collab more and, like, do more of that and create a song better than the both of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, but people don't always give you the best advice either. Like, you don't know people's motives. If you ask them, oh my gosh, I made this track, is it cool? And you send it to them, maybe they're going to feel threatened. Maybe they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is sick. I had no idea they could make something that good. Like, they might say something kind of a little bit negative that throws you off when you just got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
Go trust your gut.
Yo, that's fun.
I love that.
Okay. Okay, and it's also clipping, which is expected. Let's see. So you can hear, actually I think that one. So we can just do a quick fade, kind of blend them a little bit better together.
How long did it take you to get a master on this side of things, like the notes and the feeling like you know when things are clashing? And
I don't know, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you never, for me to be where I am right now, it took all the years behind me to get here, you know, and I'm not even in my final form, right? So it's like I can still improve upon myself as a musician. I always want to learn more. I want to get new gear. I want to learn how to use more plugins, more synths, get into new things, hear more music, get more inspired. Because, you know, as an artist, I never want to be stagnant and think that right now I'm the shit. This is the best I'll ever
Yeah.
be. No one will ever be better than me.
I'm going to make the same beat for the next 50 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've also learned that it's really important to have a few people that are like that. The people where you look at them and you're like, they never change their music. I will rely on them to always, like, if I want to listen to a specific sound, they will always have that. Because you know, like I'm the musician that will change, but maybe some people might be a bit. It might be unfortunate for some certain fans or
Who
listeners.
really loved like a
certain era. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I have to be like, well, I'm sorry, you know, I want to change.
Yeah.
And yet, me as a consumer, I feel like as someone who consumes music, I can feel like, oh man, but then this album's not as
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
They changed it too much.
But you got to roll that dice.
Yeah.
That's what it is, because the next one might be even better. Hey, look at this beautiful color spectrum that you have going on here.
I
by the
know.
way. It's beautiful.
It's Ableton and their auto picking color situation.
I wonder if there's an artist at Ableton who's like, okay, first 6 tracks, we're going to go from a taupe to a brown, then we're going to need to spice things up.
Sometimes I know a few people that are really, really good at color coding things. Like they'll go through and be like, okay, this whole group will be like this. All the drums will be like this. I'm just like, I don't know.
It's a talent. I
Yeah.
usually go in the colors represent the sort of sonic space. So like usually drums and bass are darker, heavier colors. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And then the mid-range stuff is usually bright colors. And the top stuff is usually the yellows and the more light. I mean, it's just pretty obvious because then I can physically, like visually see where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried. I do it sometimes. Like there's a few where they'll be like really color coded and the rest I'm just like, they're just like giant farts. I'm like, I don't know. You know, I just do it by groups and hope that the colors don't repeat and I get confused.
Baby, I know that these words will be tripping, but I know you. All right, so we got these chords. It's sounding really good. Baby, baby, I know that you gave me a chance with your sweet song. If you guys are just tuning in, this is the Remix Lab. I'm Anna
It's a little funny
Lunoe.
that it works.
This is TOKiMONSTA. She is making a remix live right now.
Okay, now the fun part. Let's do some of the drums because like
Woo!
we'll embellish later, but for now I'm gonna keep the same chords throughout the entire song.
You guys like these chords, right?
I hope
Give
so.
us a thumbs up. How are you going to approach these drums? You got the machine? You're going to use
Yeah,
this?
the machine, but like we have to.
Has
record
anyone
the sound.
sent any sound? So we've got the request for the half Red Bull and We've got the salt shaker.
Yeah.
We've got the kettle corn. Alex, can you tell us?
Let me switch again.
Everybody's digging the chords. Good. I'm digging the chords too. I'm getting a little bit emotional. Gonna try and hold it
It's a sad day in the remix lounge.
I just start crying.
For all you lovers out there, just be the first one, your first show, and be like the saddest song. And just everyone sitting in a corner just crying. Why?
No, but it's happy sad. They're the kind of sads. Like my favorite kind of music is those songs where you're like dancing and kind of feeling it so hard that you're kind of crying, but you're so happy because you're dancing. That's what I'm after in life.
I think this is going to be really good.
This is a great idea. Pouring some salt into the mug to add texture to the sound of what I can only assume is going to be the cowbell. Is that right?
Hello, hello. Oh. And in an effort to avoid some feedback in case. Hello, microphone.
No, this isn't a cooking show, ladies and gents.
I think it would be, you guys, this is what we're making today. These are our ingredients. We have Red Bull.
This is a new cocktail we've been working on.
Salt.
Mmm.
It looks like one of those, have you seen those? I just saw a meme today, or not a meme, like a video that tells you how to clean like spaghetti stains out of your Tupperware. And I feel like it involved things very similar to this.
Oh my gosh, yes, this is how you get stains out of your carpet, people.
Yeah.
Great.
Let's see. Let us,
I don't know if it, do you think it changed the sound? I don't think it changed much. Adding the salt.
Oh, yeah. We tried.
We'll try.
See, music is experimenting.
Trial, error, trial,
I also
error.
like talking into the mic double, probably too loud. Okay, so I wonder, like, if we want to have this windshield on
Thanks for my goblet, guys.
I wonder if there's like an opinion if I should keep. So we're gonna.
Oh, the goblet could be handy.
Oh, it's what's it called? It's for like Moscow mules.
Yeah.
Like the little cocktail mugs. That one actually sounds good. That sounds like a cowbell.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like a
better cowbell.
Okay, I'm gonna try recording with this like windshield on, and if it sounds too dull, I will.
We're just gonna fix your mic, I think. Oops. That would have been scary to have someone say.
Ask her about drum sounds and why people geek out on them so hard. It's like the most nerdy part.
Okay, so we're going into the drum section. We're gonna record these sounds for sure. But how nerdy do you get about your drums? Are you the kind of producer who's like, oh, I only record all my drums? Will you sometimes go into a sample pack and get a kick drum, or will you never do that?
Oh, dude, I got super into Splice, so I'm like all about it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think Splice is a great tool.
I love it.
But, you know, I also come from this, like, you go and find breaks in the dollar section at the record shop and you pull it out and you record the breaks. You need to make sure no one else has the breaks. Or you spend like $100 on some really rare vinyl that has 10 seconds of drums on it, you know?
And
like,
then you go on Splice and it's already recorded perfectly on Splice.
Yeah.
And you just spend $100 like a doofus.
Yeah. So it's like it's an era. Well, see, it's like, how, like in the beginning, maybe that's the way I would have done it. I don't do it that way now. But the great thing is I still have all my libraries of sounds from before.
That's great.
When I probably had more motivation to do that. Now it's like I want to make music, and there's an artistry to the process, which is like, yeah, like going and finding samples and records and things like that. But now I'm just like, I have all the sounds I need. I have like a terabyte of sounds, you know, we all do now.
And you have to limit yourself.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this stuff and never like get focused on the minutiae and never look at the big picture and go anywhere. Actually, no, do you know a lot of producers like that who are just obsessed with every little sound that they never really put any music out?
Exactly.
Someone's suggesting that we try the sound of the camera.
Oh, okay, wait. We only get one of those, so let's do this good.
Okay.
I'm gonna...
Well, I think we could probably get a few more.
Yeah, this is true. I'm just like, there's only 1,000 more Red Bull cans here. Okay. Check, check. Let me do. Hello, check. Let's see.
How's our level?
It's a little low, but I think it'll be okay. I can always just make it louder later. All right. I'm actually going to opt to take this off since we're not talking into it. Okay.
Okay. I'm nervous now. 1, 2, 3.
That was a really good sound. Let's get them all right now. So we got that. Can we what did we have? Can you shake the salt
Okay.
shaker? Wait, that you have to shake on beat. So I'm gonna have the metronome going, and I'm gonna turn it down so it doesn't record the metronome. Let's see. This is fun, right?
This is fun. We're gonna hear the metronome so loud.
Yeah.
Do you want it like that?
We'll do it that, and then we'll do double time.
It's now so quiet that I can't hear them.
Oh, why is it playing? Oh, it's looping.
I wish we had some headphones so I could hear the metronome. Okay. Or you could warp this though.
This is true, but here, actually, can you hold this? Hold the mic, or like, all right, Mike, I have this because I want to shake it in a really specific way.
Get that shake.
I'm also afraid of like unleashing all the salt on me right now.
Which we kind of did before.
I actually need to hear it louder. Okay, that's good. And I'll just double that for the double time in Ableton because I can't shake that fast enough.
Shake it like a salt shaker. What about these? Do you think we can do anything? Maybe the... This could be like a...
Maybe just like, yeah, just do a one shot with that.
Kind of, do you could layer this on a kick and it could be like a rattly top kick.
Yes, let's try it.
Like,
Let's try it. We can do it. See, you can always try and just not use it, but
I feel like
better to
that's
try.
Toki telling me she's not going to use my top kick idea, but that's cool. That's cool.
I don't know.
We'll
Might use
see.
it. I think I might use it.
Either way, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Are we recording?
Yes. Just one.
Oh.
You just do one and then stop. Okay. Just so I can get
Yeah, one
the
clean.
tail. Yeah.
Got it.
That one's good. And then
Oh, smash the bag. Good idea, guys.
Oh.
Might be messy. I'm into it.
on the floor. Wait.
Oh, what if I blow it and then go, pow? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cleanup crew, we're sorry. We
is-
apologize in advance. This is all for art.
You guys probably want to see what I'm doing. What I'm doing right now is opening the chips and I'm going to pour out all of the popcorn so that we have a pristine bag to work with. This actually is a very firm bag. I don't think I'm going to be able to pop it, but maybe you can try, Jen.
I feel like we should, maybe you can put it on the floor and we could step on it, but no one would be able to see it.
No, I think we've got to do the blow and then pop.
Okay.
And then we'll just see the noise that it makes. If it doesn't work, we're moving right on to the machine, something that probably will work.
Okay. You.
This is hard. I haven't done this since I was about 11. Okay. It's not holding air, it's just like collapsing. Anyway,
Sad
I'm just
trombone,
gonna-
you guys.
Here we go. That's actually quite a cool sound.
Yeah, it's like a really muffled kick. That was good. I like that.
Great.
Okay.
Good. This is getting very experimental. I'm into it.
It's a totally other kind of show.
This is some heady shit.
Performance art. Okay, cool. So we got we got the sounds. Let's see. So let's go through what we have. I'll turn this back up. That one I really like. Just opening a can. So cool. I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet, but I want to use that. Can open. You guys think that's cool too, right? Is it just
You guys
me?
think it's cool? I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So what we can do now is we can take that stretch of audio, we can chop it up, we can pick little bits that we like out of it, we can make it louder or softer, basically do anything to it.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Let's try to loop it. So it's a little off right now, but I think I like it.
Adds groove.
Yeah. And the main thing is like when it's off, there's like good off and bad off. And I find that things being late sounds better than things being early. So pushing things always sounds better in my opinion. So let's just add this already. I want these shakers in.
And what we're seeing right now is you like refining your drum sounds.
And you can see it's not really looping completely on. Let's just pull it a little bit. See, music can be very tedious, you guys. But I think this is amazing. I'm having so much fun right now.
Are you guys having fun? Drop something in the comments, like your favorite emoji. Pick the emoji that describes how you're feeling deeply in your heart.
Okay. And you can hear the metronome in the back, but honestly, like,
By the time you lay it out.
yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's do the fun stuff.
You could probably use like a de-esser or something to nip it out in EQing if you really wanted.
Yeah, it's always funny because like metronome clicks are kind of like in a very useful like range. Kind of similar. Let's see. Why don't we use...
Oh yeah, totally.
Let's do... So I like Pro Q. It's by Fabfilter, so that's like one of my favorite EQs to use. How about this though? I really only want the high end anyways, so just a quick thing, we can just do a low cut.
So that's taking all the lower frequencies out of the sound. Wait, you guys are sending emojis. Cats, waves. Oh yeah, the cats. You're our kitty cats. Salt shakers, Bob Ross. Cool.
I love Bob Ross. I don't know if you guys know that. I love that dude. He's amazing.
Emoji. So I'm Australian. I don't know who Bob Ross is.
He was like a
People just gasped. Someone over there just gasped. Is that bad? What is it? Who is he?
So he was a painter with this like huge fro.
The guy who just paints on TV.
But it's all about, he's super zen. He always talks about there are no mistakes.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
he likes happy trees and he'll turn things into happy things, and just a peaceful guy that really encouraged people to create art, even if it wasn't.
I love him already.
You know, it's pretty amazing.
You guys are saying that this is like an audio version of happy painting, so that's cool.
I think I kind of got that metronome out a little bit.
Baby, baby, I know that.
All right. Now let's double time this one. So it sounds really funny to me. We'll keep it long for now. Let's work on some drums. We'll figure that out later. Okay. And I just have Maschine right now open somewhere. Hold on, where are you, Maschine? So I'm not a Maschine pro. I know a lot of people are really good at it, but I do like it as a tool. Right now I just have, I loaded just like one of the factory packs that come with it. It is the Boom Bap kit.
So if someone's never heard of Maschine, how would you describe what you're using, what that machine
It's
does?
a standalone drum machine. You can also sequence in it. It's really popular with people who make rap, trap, hip hop, also in techno and house, like a lot of people in that world.
There's a lot of good loops, like
Yes.
tops and mids and.
Yeah, it's good. And it also kind of has its like own built-in compression. So it always sounds good coming out. Like it just sounds like it smacks straight out the bat. I honestly don't necessarily like all these sounds that are in this kit, but what's great with Maschine is I can just drop sounds in like the ones that we made. So
she can take the drum rack and just drag our songs and replace ones she doesn't like with songs with the sounds that we recorded.
let's see. What did we record again?
Another thing that Maschine does is that you can change it to be chords as well. So there's that drum pad can actually play chords, which is handy because, you know, there's more than just drums in a beat. So if that's the only machine that you have, you can do everything with it.
I totally forgot what sound that was.
I think that was the popping of the bag. Or was that the shaking of the bag?
That was the bag.
Here we go. Can that be on the drop? Here we go.
We got it.
Just put heaps of auto-tune on me.
Yeah,
Cool.
I can do that. See, this is like the whole multitasking thing.
You're doing
So
very
hard.
well.
I'm trying really hard right now.
You're doing very
You just
well.
have no idea.
Guys, isn't she doing well? She's doing very well.
Okay. Let's see. Let's put the sounds. This one was which one? It's also like really hot in here. Is it just
Do
me?
you know we could also record like
That's a good sound.
the sound of people eating popcorn?
Yeah, I was thinking of you just like smashing it. Let's use this.
She's a great multitasker, but I'm also a great multitasker. I can eat and stand here at the same time. Oh no. I'm gonna end up in this remix, aren't I?
Hold on. Among the many things I'm learning right now is that it's playing the entire loop. Hold on. Yep. I know how to fix this. But yeah, you know, I think even when someone's been producing for a long time, you always have new things that you can learn. And this is me learning something new, so sorry to practice on you guys.
We're all learning.
I know. Someone out there is like, man, I know how to use that shit, she sucks. But
No, they're not. No
I'm
one
doing
would
my
ever
best.
say something mean on a chat.
no one would say anything mean on Twitch. Let's see, I think maybe.
No one says anything rude on the whole internet.
There we go.
It's just all hugs. It's just Bob Ross.
That's the energy that I want this
Yeah, we
session
want
to
the
be.
chat room to be like Bob Ross action.
Yeah. That's like a good way to go. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, which was
What was that?
short-term memory loss. I think it's a real thing. I don't
you just-
remember either.
Did you just push this, like, shorten the sound?
Well, I cropped it right now. So this was, okay, we did
That's a really
can
nice-
first. It's not the popcorn. It's not this.
Oh, I know what it is. It's when I shook the bag.
Oh,
Yes, that does sound what it sounds like. And
All
you
right.
she's just pushed the sound so it's super tight. And it actually sounds like a great little rim hitty or like slappy snare.
exactly. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna layer it over an actual snare sample. I'm also gonna make it a little louder. And from here, we can add a little bit of a. Okay, so
You guys are just Bob Rossing up our chat room right now. I love it.
he's kind of the best.
This
you know?
this is all we could
He's-
ever hope for.
He's a good person.
I'm gonna go home and just get in such a deep hole on the internet on Bob Ross.
Okay, so I added a little bit of plate reverb. I'm using Valhalla, which is a great one. And let's layer that with snare. So let's go into some splice samples.
So if someone didn't know what reverb was, how would you describe it?
It's like room ambiance, right? Because it's different than an echo, but it can have an echoey effect.
Like when you yell in a valley.
Exactly.
Like the reverb, and
Or
then
your
echo might bounce back.
or you're in a large hall, so even you can have like reverbs with presets that are like, yeah, you know, you have a studio room, a cathedral, things like that. And depending on how large the space is, the reverb sounds different. Reverbs also tend to be pretty CPU heavy. And
CPU is the running power of your computer, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So it might drag your computer down if you
Yeah.
use a lot of certain plugins.
yeah. And with reverb, so it's typically good to have reverb and like echoes and things like that on returns. So that's when you can route multiple tracks to just one instance of the plugin. But also YOLO, whatever, you know, if it starts to break down, we'll deal with it then. So
I know people who just print their reverb straight away, like Red Light, he just prints the reverb and just commits to it, which gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I'll change that 100 times, but he's like, nope, that's it, sounds great, ship it.
I don't commit to anything. I'll freeze tracks because, you know, in Ableton you can freeze tracks before you flatten, so it's almost like you render it out, but then everything is still there, like all the MIDI, all the plugin settings. And so if you have like FOMO regret, you can just like unfreeze it and get it back. So we have that. Let's find a good snare. Let's see. I want this to have kind of more of a groove, right? So if we were talking like Keytronada, this idea of something that's more swung, something with feeling a little bit more lo-fi.
Right.
Right? So let's try. I like a good rim shot. I'll put that in here. I'll put that there.
So we're building a bit of a drum kit right now, which we're going to use on Maschine to play in, I think, right?
And let's do that snare. Maybe that snare.
Is this your favorite way to do drums like this, where you play it in live, or do you ever just do the audio and cut paste and?
All the time. So I do it several different ways. I like the idea of drum machines, and I've gotten back into it because I used to use like an SP404, which is like this kind of like janky sampler that you can also do drums in. But I find that like the swing is better, you know, when you have a drum machine. Even if I end up quantizing it, there's something about just like the primal feeling of playing the drums, right? But I definitely also just like, I've pulled in drum loops. Sometimes I'll use things I've recorded before, like shakers, for example. I have a folder where I just have a bunch of shakers I've done, and I'll just pull them in because I think we live in an era where we want to facilitate the creative energy and not just have to wait and be like, fuck, I have to do all this stuff before I get the idea down. And so that's where this era of like splice and samples, I know a lot of some producers are kind of like anti, but it does help you get your ideas down better. And sometimes you can just use it as a stand-in, you know, like you can have theirs in there and change it later. And that's a nice snare, right?
Yeah.
And with that snare,
How do you layer in this? Like, how are we going to layer our snares? You just play them both at the same time?
Yeah, for this one it'd be like that. And then you can actually, it's so cool. I didn't know this. So you can, where is it? I might actually end up recording it as audio, but there is a cool feature where you can just drag the MIDI in. Hold on, you know what? I know why.
You can have all the equipment in the world, but it really is how well you know your equipment. So getting one piece of equipment, you can do a million different things with it. It's really all you need. There's just so many different ways to do everything. And if you don't know how to use it, it can also sometimes be even more confusing to have more equipment, you know? So if you've only got your laptop and one janky old MIDI keyboard, that's fine. You've got plenty of stuff to work with.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't necessarily like this kick drum, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna keep it. And you know, again, we're getting ideas down. I can always change it later. And all those other things we recorded, I'll probably think about putting in after. So right now we have a salt shaker. That 4/4 sounds really good, right? So 4/4 is all the kicks on the beat. Let's try that. And go back to... Okay.
How you guys doing out there? How's Bob Ross doing?
And in my effort of trying to figure out how this works, I kind of fucked it up. Hold on.
That's how it goes.
And, okay, let's do this again. So,
You guys are feeling the house vibe, I hear.
oh!
We just had a crash. Did we have a crash?
Oh my God, the whole thing just shut down, you guys.
Lucky Ableton usually saves everything.
Yeah, and I totally did the non-save.
This is where you definitely press yes. I've definitely pressed no when it's like, do you want to recover your work? And I accidentally press no, and then I'm like,
Just wait. You know what? I'm not gonna use Maschine to do the drums. You know what? This actually doesn't happen very often, and the only new
we're
thing
good, we're Gucci.
is this. So let's try it a different way. Totally unnecessary, also really scared. Also gonna press Command Save right now. Holy moly.
Are you guys relieved? I'm really relieved that we're not starting from scratch. But hey, that's what live remixing is all about, and we would have done it if we had to, but we don't. So that's great.
Now let's do it the other way we're talking about. I'm just gonna drop in splice samples right now.
Okay.
And
Splice is a relatively new thing. Is it new? I don't know. I've been using it for about a year, but
yeah, I got into it kind of within the last year. I think it's been around a little bit
yeah,
longer
like
than
3 or
that.
4 years I remember hearing people talking about it. So Splice is basically like a bank online that collects every kind of conceivable sample that you could ever think of. You can one of my favorite ways to use Splice is to type in descriptive words for things that I want and just see what comes back, because there's infinite amount of samples. You could search it for days, like a kick drum or any, I mean, it's just days and days worth of stuff. So yeah, it's a very great resource if you're a producer. And yes, this is a great reminder to save as you're going along. We just learned that lesson.
So, and just like that, I just dropped in a loop.
But let's just pretend it was me.
Oh no, they're both in there. So
oh, okay,
the
so it was.
shakers, our original shakers, are in there together. I mean, as far as like how I choose loops, I just go and drop them in. I'll pull them out. If they don't work, that's fine. Sometimes, like, okay, here. It's a kick and snare loop. There is like a slightly elitist part of me that thinks it is kind of lame if I just drop that in. But at the same time, let's say, well, shit, I really like those sounds, but I don't like the pattern. So let's try them in. And this is the appeal of sample loops, right? Like I didn't really have to do anything. I just dropped it in and it sounded really good. But what I can do to really personalize these loops is to really change the pattern. So and we were talking earlier about 4/4, right? So what if we, okay, and this is something I do also if I ever use loops like this where it's a snare and a kick, I copy and paste, I separate them. So I'll cut out all the kicks or the snares from each other and put them in their own track so that if I need to mix them, I don't have to do that to the entire loop. And I don't have to use automation, which is also really heavy on your computer. So let's see. And let's see that. That's all I want from them. I just want this kick and this snare. And I'm going to create the 4/4. Just copy that over. And right now it is quantized. But that's not going to give a swing, right? But I think that with the shakers, because I use shakers a lot, I don't know if it's like weird or not. I like shakers more than using like 808 hi-hats or something, you know. And so I think with the shakers, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but what I did do is with our salt shaker, which is a real thing.
You can get this from any supermarket, guys. Any supermarket has this exact salt shaker. Probably about $2.
So cheap. Should have more. Should have more salt shakers.
Yeah.
Considering it, I actually took a small one out in the kitchen and I poured a bunch of salt on the floor. So this is the safest version of it that
Well, we
worked.
came down to the idea that it was good luck that she spilt the salt all over herself, because I think that's like a good luck thing.
So there's a time delay feature or track delay feature on Ableton. So it allows you to shift everything by a few milliseconds, either forward or backwards. So what I did is for the salt shaker, which is right here, I pushed it back so it's a little late by 8 milliseconds. And with this loop, I haven't done anything to this. I actually shoved this 10 milliseconds. So obviously none of this is precise. I'm not trying to have everything hit at the same time. I think a little bit of chaos creates that live movement. It creates a little bit of soul, you know, because it is a little bit inaccurate. And sometimes when music is super on time, it can feel a little cold. So we have both of those and they're pushed back. So they're not even on the bar. And when you add the kick and the snare, even though the kick and the snare are on, there's still movement.
She's making this look really easy. Playing with the groove can be like tricky sometimes if you get too out of the grid, but this sounds really good. What do you think is like the craziest sound you've ever put in a track that we wouldn't even know?
Craziest sound?
Yeah, like the weirdest thing.
People breaking glasses at a bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which song?
I think it's in my song Rouge. So if you hear it, there's a lot of like glass sounds, and some of them are like broken glass. But also have like helicopters, airplanes, road noise,
Nice.
car doors, ambient talking, people just talking in the background.
I like to imagine you out in the night in like a little balaclava with your
And just,
microphone,
like, going around like
field
this.
recording.
Beware. So that's off two, right? Let's see. Let's try.
Is that the verse or the pre-chorus? That section of vocal.
It's kind of like a pre-chorus. Whoops.
Tripping.
Let's see. How do I make this sound good? I see, I'm just experimenting right now. probably sounded better at that, right? Let's see. It's a lot of experimenting.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Sounds off, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like go for the lead and then
I feel like it'll sound really good if I can get this on. That's better.
I love his voice. Wow.
So good.
Chipping. So you're kind of jumping around in the arrangement now. Is that something you'd normally do? Like, or would you just work in a loop and then stretch it out to arrange near the end of the process?
I have a tendency to arrange kind of while I make the song. I might like go in and work on it more, but I know everyone's different. Some people just work in loops.
Yeah.
But when I have a song, when I hear the song and I hear the vision for it, I already have most of the song mapped out in my mind, like how I want it to go and where I want it to.
That's some Elton John
like-
shit.
It's just like vision, but it's like sometimes I have no vision. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. This is bad.
Do people ever send you a
Change.
song to remix and you're like, I got nothing. I don't really want to attempt this. Or do you get the parts and then take a look and then be like, oh.
Well, because I have this tendency to mutate the songs a lot. If it's a song I like, don't think I
Love.
could do anything to, or a song I don't feel very inspired to work on. But let's say it's like an artist I really like, or you know the song is good, but then I don't know what I can do to it. I just change the song until it's something I can work with.
Right.
So, you know, even though, and that's why like you know remixes for me it can really depend. It might not. It will pay homage to kind of the original, but it will probably be fairly different.
Right.
You know, so if the song is like I know I could do something with it without changing too much of the heart of the song, then it's great. But if it's a song that I'm having trouble with, the best thing for me is always just to mold the song into something that I feel inspired by.
Right.
And this is a good example, right? Like, I think originally when I heard it, it was really, I couldn't figure out a way to make the song better than it is. And that's what's hard, right? When there's a song presented to you that's super good
Yeah.
and amazing, and you're like, well, what else can I do to the song?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost better to remix songs that aren't very good, because then you can just try to do something special to it that I didn't have before. But this song is challenging because I really like the original. And in my mind, I was like, I really like the song. I probably could remix it. But then coming to it, I'm like, actually, this is kind of hard. The song is so good, and it's in a particular key. The original song is really repetitive. There's the same sample throughout the entire song. So that gives me at least a clue that I can also just do a loop that goes over and over. I think if I had more time, maybe I could have more like chord progression changes, but there's something really meditative about loops.
I love a loopy track. I love just getting into the hypnotizing kind of vibe of a track and getting stuck in a loop. I also think it's a nice trick when you do a bit of a 3-bar loop. So it's not like most bars are like 4, 16, 8 kind of in blocks. But if you can do it so that it's a 3-bar, you just never, it's like Real Talk, one of my songs, you can never get out of it because it's like hypnotizing. Chat still wants to hear that coffee mug cowbell. And we, you know, we've
got it.
We've got
I
it.
got you.
It's gonna get in there. You guys just be patient. Just think Bob Ross, think trees.
Let's do the cowbell, because we didn't actually do that one, right?
No, we put the salt in it. Oh, but we didn't. We've got
That
this
one. Yeah, that's the cowbell, right? Okay, I can do this. We can do this. All right.
Which
just,
part?
Just one.
Or down low.
Try right here.
Okay.
Think if it's too high, it's a little too sharp. Okay. Oh, yeah. Good. Y'all really like the cowbells, huh?
Who doesn't?
This is true, a good cowbell. I guess cowbells are more muted sounding, right?
Yeah.
Oops. I think that's the one. It's kind of like a baby between a cowbell and a triangle.
And the one that you went with is the one that I thought I messed up. So you just never know.
I like it. It's not as sharp because like I think when you went really high, it gets really crispy.
Tingy, yeah. We want something with more grit.
Yeah, this is a good sound. Okay.
Baby.
Let's see if I can put it in between. Beep. That was nice, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
like that.
Let's loop it. So,
This is Ableton 10, right?
yes.
I'm still having a lot of trouble with the copy paste and the different, they slightly changed the copy paste in Ableton 10 and I'm still not quite.
Yeah, it's because they added this easy automation.
Yeah, which does help, but then I'm always in the wrong mode.
Yeah.
I'm still not nailing it.
If
But
you-
thanks, Ableton.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever get like press this on accident, if you move this into the piano mode, then it
Yeah,
won't do it. So.
you get stuck. And I'm always in a hurry and then I'm like, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
also
God.
like now you have to copy and paste from up here.
Yes,
yeah, not from
exactly.
the bottom. Yeah. These are true. Someone out there, Ableton people.
Just trying to mess with me.
Okay, so I put, this is just manually adjusted, but I put our cowbell,
Yeah. Mug bell. Wait,
human bell.
what did I call it? What did I call that? What did I call it?
Goblet.
The goblet.
Oh,
Goblet. It's a
yes.
goblet bell. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering
Oh, yeah.
what a goblet bell is, I understand this could be confusing. You're watching the Red Bull Remix Lab. We are remixing a track live for you right here. My name is Anna Lunoe. This is TOKiMONSTA. She's a Grammy nominated artist and producer and a label owner. She has made 5 full-length albums, 7 EPs, countless singles, countless remixes. And we are so lucky to be in the room right now as she works on this track. And we're all working on it together. We're having snacks, we've got food, we've got drinks, we've got Bob Ross, it's all happening.
We have the spirit of Bob Ross.
We have the spirit of Bob Ross. He's with us all the time, everywhere. Is he still alive? I don't know anything about him.
No, may he rest in peace. It was a really big deal. I was really sad. He's been gone for a few years.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. But his legacy lives on forever.
In all of us.
Yeah.
Chia pet. Bob Ross chia pet.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that was a big deal. The chia pet. Except when you actually have one, they always like grow out like from weird
Long?
angles. Yeah.
Weird, but cool.
Is that a thing in Australia? Did you guys have chia pets?
Probably, yeah. When you water the top of their heads and it grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now people just eat chia.
Right, yeah, totally. I might make my own chia pet.
Yeah. Inside my stomach.
Follow my Instagram. I'll get on that straight away. What was it like getting nominated for a Grammy? Like, that's like, is that the first time this year or last year? Or has
Oh
it
yeah.
been a
I
few
mean, I
times?
never thought that may be the last time for me ever. Who knows? I didn't expect it, which I think is good. You know, like I'm not here making music for accolades.
Yeah.
I'm making music for myself and for anyone who's willing to listen. But, you know, the Grammys are really interesting because electronic is a really new category. And, you know, in the past, I know a lot of people in this sphere of music have been really disappointed by some of the nominees or who wins. And we're like, that's not really electronic music, but is it? Or should that be in that category? Should it be somewhere else? And this year was the first year where I looked at it and I was like, wow, I really
It's
respect
representative.
everyone that is in this category with me, and I literally don't care if I win.
Yeah.
You know, I was very surprised to be nominated to begin with, but I knew that at least I was with peers that I respected. Every single one of them, like I enjoy their music, and I
It was like
respect them.
John Hopkins, Sophie
Tucker,
Tucker,
Justice.
Justice, and then also was
Me. Wait, are we missing one?
Wait. Yeah, I think
Sophie Tucker, John Hopkins, me and Justice. Wait, did I do that?
Justice, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Above and Beyond were nominated.
Remix.
Okay.
Or single? Remix. Just remix.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was really weird. It's a weird.
So did you go?
I did go, and I was a presenter.
Oh, wow.
It was so weird. So I was the very first person to present, and for the premiere ceremony, which is this ceremony that actually has the bulk of all the categories. It's like 70 of them, and only 10 are on the telecast. So 70 categories in one ceremony. And as a presenter, I had to announce 10 winners.
Oh my gosh.
And one of them was Best A Cappella Group.
Oh my God.
And do you know how many people are in an a cappella group? Basically, I don't have to announce all the nominees in the category. There's like it's like pre-recorded, right? So then it's pre-recorded. I look at the list of people, and there's one like group of nominees that has 15 names, and I'm thinking in my head, please let it not be them, because I'm holding the envelope. I don't know what's inside, and then I open it, and it's totally this group of like 15 a cappella singers, and no one prompts me or told me like, oh, just say the first few names, or just say their first names or whatever.
Oh my
So I was like, they
God.
won. I should say all their names. So I was reading all 15 of their names as they were walking on stage, as the music was turning on to kind of hand it over, and I was like, man, this is really hard work.
And was it hard to pronounce some of the names? You're like, Bob Macaroni. He's like, my name's McGovern. You just called me John Macaroni in front of the whole world.
I mean, I will
Sorry,
say
John.
this. I apologize to everyone in advance if I said their name wrong, because there were some really hard names to say. It's funny because beforehand they do like email you this list on how to phonetically say everyone's names, but you don't know who wins. So if you
Who do you focus on?
It's like 300 names on there. It's like my name was on there, like everyone's name.
Yeah.
Anyways, I really enjoyed it, but man, that was really hard.
You're through it now.
So, oh yeah. So I put our goblet cowbell situation in here.
Back to the goblet cowbell.
What I did too, just so it sounds more natural, Maschine actually does it on its own too. If you ever do note repeat on here, it'll adjust the velocity so they're not all the same. It sounds more natural. So
It's like you're playing it, like if your hands were doing it.
and basically I have the cowbell every half, like every quarter note, and it's playing offbeat between the kick and the snare, and it's always like louder, quieter, like that. So not noticeable, but it'll make the whole thing again sound more
And you just
real.
you just audibly did that. You drew it in, okay.
And I think it sounds kind of dry, so I'm going to put some reverb on the situation. Let's see, I'm gonna copy.
I'm pretty excited to see what you're gonna do with that can, that opening can.
I know, I feel like it's gonna be like the last moment before it goes back into a chorus or something.
Right.
That last sound. Sounds so cool. It's almost like the sound is so special you don't know what to do with it. It's just gonna sit in the corner forever.
You could you could give it rhythm and make it more of like a feature sound too.
It's true.
Like a metallic up front thing.
Let's see.
But I guess with this track, it's all about the vocal, and the instrumental's just kind of filling out around the vocal.
Wait, I know. Let's see. Let's mute that.
I actually did not notice that camera until now. I feel like you've been spying on me. Baby. This song isn't even out yet. This is a very exclusive. Oh.
Just a little break. Maybe I could put like some cool synths in.
Some of the vocal harmonies.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, that's where the can should come in. Where'd you go, Can?
Canny boy.
We lost the can.
R.I.P.
We lost the can with the crash.
Oh dear. We can do it again.
Okay. Anyone have a preferred flavor?
When's the compilation coming out?
May 3rd, 4th, 5th? I'm not sure, but it's in May.
In May.
Early, one of the first weeks.
Cans, cans, cans. We've got heaps of cans.
Okay.
So this track isn't even out for another month or a month and a half, 2 months. When is it? We're at the end of March, so that's like another 6 weeks or so. That is cool. So you're getting the remix before the track. It's triple X exclusive.
I like that phrase. Triple X exclusive. No, wait, triple exclusive.
Yeah.
I said that wrong. Triple X exclusive doesn't work, right? Okay, sorry. Okay.
So we took that off, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Back in the game, people.
You can get some sizzle in there. Okay. I know where I want to put it. Let's see. Oops.
Thanks, Alex. Alex is telling me that I cracked well. I
It
did
was-
good crack.
It was really good. Yoop. Let's see. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I love this. I love
This is a good turnaround. Oh my God, this is gonna be great. Banger.
Don't mistake my longing for love.
My bad.
Just 'cause I'm longing for love, baby. Something's missing. The stars ain't falling down. For me not to wanna go, baby. Lady, it shows I've got a sweet, cheap adoration. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Lady Rose, I'm incomplete, such a weak imitation. It's something I once was. Someone who was once loved.
Ooh, see, that's gonna have to change. All right.
But before then, I think I could speak for all of us by saying that we were lost in the emotion, in the groove, in the vibe.
No, thank you guys. I'm just like being this like super strange person. I don't know what it is, but when I'm working on music, I lose all social cues, and suddenly I'm like not I don't know how to like be a human being. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like disconnecting and using so much energy into focusing on the music itself that I like don't remember. I like forgot my mom's birthday. Don't remember where I live.
Yeah, it's
where
a
did I park my
trance.
car?
It's like,
All
yeah,
of it's gone. Let's see.
it's primal.
So we can use this as like a little riser, right? Super common trick, everyone uses this. We can use a frequency shifter. So I grouped our salt shaker and the loop together, and we can just do one of these.
I actually have never done this before.
Ooh,
Show me. I've seen like plugins that do similar. Just basically add echo and add like,
frequency shifter, all it is
I've never seen that. Wow.
riser, and it's super easy.
Yeah, I've seen similar things, but not frequency shifter like that.
Yeah, and it's a really light plugin, so if all you want to do is something simple like that, then it works really well.
Tips on tips on tips. I hope you guys are writing this all down.
And let's do that too with this. So with the piano.
If not, this will be on VOD.
If you just tuned in, if you feel like you missed a bit at the start, all of this is going to be online, on YouTube.
Okay.
We want to get that effect snap back in so you can really feel that coke pop.
Tripping, the world got me tripping. You see how I'm slipping. Don't mistake my longing for love. Just 'cause I'm longing for love,
this guy deserves to be louder. R. And this is something I also like to do a lot. We all listen to music on headphones, right? Like when we're consuming, half the time I have like really cheap earbuds in my ears. I'm on an airplane. And it's really immersive when you have music being listened to in that way. And so you can really trip people out. So I like working with stereo a lot. Not in a way where it's really annoying, because sometimes too much stereo panning makes
you dizzy.
Yeah, like all the music is just on the side of your ears, you know? But I do like with little effects like this to kind of have it drag across your ears. So like with this opening of the can, we can make it seem like it's opening across our, like from one side to the other.
Surround sound.
Hell yes. Okay, so it might not be super obvious for everyone, but I do really like it. It's such a gentle sound, isn't
Yeah.
it? I like it.
That's total ASMR sound.
I know it is.
What do you think is one of like the best little tricks that you've gotten? Like best little tricks that just help the process. Like kind of like that frequency shifter, just things that get you.
You know, honestly, the biggest thing for me is the track delay on Ableton.
Okay, so the delay.
Being able to shift things around, because sometimes it could be you recorded someone, or you want to shift whole things, whole tracks. It really creates a lot of energy. Also, for stereo panning, people will also do like track delay and stuff like that. I just use it a lot. Sometimes it's just an easy way to create swing. Also,
Do you give it to everything, or just like do you do it to the kick, or do you just do it to all the perk sounds?
I always keep the kicks on the one quantized, no matter what.
All right.
So ghost kicks can be swung a little bit. Maybe I'll push them just like a slight bit late. Sometimes snares might be a little early. I might move them a little early, or they're also just on, you know, on the bar. But percussion, like shakers, bongos, anything like that, I tend to shift around a lot in a very, it's kind of like broad strokes using the
Okay,
track
so
delay.
you're just moving it around on what feels good. You're not being like, okay, everything has to go 5 this way, or like, okay.
Yeah. And actually, like, I intentionally will make them different. So like one is 8 milliseconds and one is 10 milliseconds.
That's so interesting, because I feel like the rule I've always been taught is like everything has to be the same on the swing. That's so cool.
Yeah, because like if you look at if you study like drum patterns, like funk drum patterns, like James Brown, if you were to put that on a grid and you can see how they move the drums, like how the drums are played, they're never on.
Yeah.
But because of the way that it's played, it creates movement. Like you want to snap your head in that way. That's why Jay Dilla was so good at that. Like his drum swing was just like the best. And so much of it was placement, like sparseness too. The type of drum sounds, like really short snares in certain instances where you just want to like snap your neck, you know? And it's obviously like a really, I don't know, like scientific way to look at it, but you know, everything is about movement, because there's also like the wrong way to create swing where it's like too jerky and, you know, it's not natural enough.
Do you ever get up and dance when you're working on it, just to feel how it feels when it goes through your body?
Yeah, absolutely, all the
do.
time, yeah.
I do. How do you feel good in the studio though? It's important to feel good in the studio and feel like, it's important to feel good in the studio and like get up and dance and keep the spirit so that you can put that in the music. Because that's all it is. It's the energy that you have that goes into the music. Gonna let you finish those drums out.
Let's see. Okay, maybe do another effect. So, I really use the Valhalla plate the most, so this is my favorite reverb. Pre-delay. So, because I sequence as I go, at least I can like sequence out the whole first part of this song for everyone.
So what are you adding reverb to now?
Just the tail end of that vocal.
Okay,
So it'll like
carry it on.
Yeah, and it'll just melt into the sort of pre-chorus that we have. Oh, and it's starting to clip because my buffer size is really low, which I don't need anymore. Only necessary like when you're recording in. So now it's set at 512. Yeah, I set the decay really long. Oh, another effect I really like is Fabfilter's Timeless. I've been using this on my music for a long time, like even on my first album. I always use the analog tape echo. And change the filter a little bit. And turn the wet down.
So it just adds like a... Oh, I love that.
I just love the space echo effect. There's tons of other plugins for it too, but I just like, I guess I'm just used to this one.
Yeah. The chat is concerned that you've saved this.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for reminding us.
Oh shit. This is what happens. I think everyone can identify, right? You just like so in the zone and it's like bam, gone. And you're just like, what do I do? It's like the saddest like little single tear. And I've totally done that thing too where it asks you if you want to open. I've also pressed no.
I know, that's the big, and you had the option to save it and you press no. Yeah, have you guys ever done that? I've totally done that before. It's just the worst feeling because then it's all your own fault. Like you're like, why? Like, do I hate myself? Do I hate myself?
Just a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? But then it's also living in the moment. That song was meant to crash.
Do you know what? It's because you're like, sometimes your computer's always saying, do you want to update? Do you want to update? And I'm like, no, no. And then it's like, do you want to save your work? And I'm like, no. If you've just tuned in, we are remixing High Hopes by Rosehardt. This song isn't even out yet. It's out in May on a compilation on Young Art Records, which is TOKiMONSTA's record label. We're working on the drums. We're just getting that drum down. And then afterwards, I guess we're moving to the... What are we moving to next after this?
Oh, maybe like bass?
Yeah.
Or something?
Bass.
Oh, we need bass, right, you guys?
We need bass.
Oops. You know what? Now that I put the reverb on it, I actually like how it sounds all drowned out.
So that's on all the drums? A little bit of reverb on the whole drum track?
No, not the drum track. Just the vocals.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and which is good because right now I'm gonna do classic compression, sidechain compression on all the vocals with the kick drum. Wait, let me make sure I okay, I labeled it kick. So we have my compressor, the input, so it'll be sidechained to the kick, which I labeled here. And we'll have some of that cool ducking. Quick attack, quick release.
If you're ready for the bass, drop a bass face emoji in the comments. Something that's kind of like this.
I like that, they took a photo. That's gonna live forever on the internet.
It wouldn't be the first bass face of mine on the internet. That's the sad truth.
Obviously really loud.
Wow, there's some crazy face emojis going on. Keep them coming, keep them coming.
Okay. So I'm actually not that familiar with this Korg, but super classic. Shout out Dorian Concept. He's an amazing player of this machine. So I'm gonna just find some bass patches. This is just a Rhodes, but it sounds pretty cool.
So patches are sounds that are already in the machine. They're programmed a certain way, and they're a great place to start when you want to write, get a good idea out. Ooh.
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 I like a good farty bass.
Love a farty bass. Not a fart in the studio,
No.
but we love a farty bass.
The walls are very thick in here. That smell will stay forever.
Like 45 minutes of one fart.
There's a lot of people in here too. Please don't do it. Okay.
I'm watching all of you.
And then there's that whole thing that happens when you're like, I really like that, and you didn't record any of it. Okay, let's try this again. I gotta get in the groove. Hell yeah. Okay. Back.
Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Good clean take. Sam Van Horn, what was the one that Sam wanted? Electronica knob preset 2. We'll have a listen to that in a second.
All right. Shout out, Sam.
Thanks for the comment, Sam. But this bass is pretty good. I'm happy with it.
And I put that sidechain compression on the bass. So this is a long song. I'm gonna cut some of it out. So that's
Stop
also
it.
the thing you get to do.
As a
When you're
remixer, we just
remixing.
decided we want the song to be 45 seconds long.
Okay, so we're all done here. I think we should leave.
Yeah.
I mean, pack up, get on with
Thanks
stuff.
for coming.
It's been a good day.
I mean, are you the kind of producer who can just be like, I'm done with this idea, delete? Do you get attached, or do you just feel like you can delete and start again tomorrow?
You mean if I don't like it?
Yeah, like if we do what we do now, like, will you
Save.
happily will you happily abandon this if you feel like it's not working when you listen to it tomorrow and start again? Or would you like feel quite attached to this idea and feel the need to see this through? Because some people, they just delete and move on. I get quite attached.
You know, I think that one attribute about me as a musician I'm quite proud of is that I'm good at deciding early on if the song is going to be worth keeping.
Yeah.
So when I commit early on, because like if I start a song and it's going bad, it's just bad from the beginning.
Right.
But if I've managed to make an entire song, it's because I loved it enough to keep working for hours and hours straight.
Yeah.
So my vibe is usually if I find a song and I really like it, remix, original track, if I start an idea, I'll sit in the studio for like 10 hours. I won't eat. I forget to use the restroom.
Wow, okay.
I won't answer my phone. People are knocking on the door, making sure I'm still alive. You know, like
Yeah.
I completely shut off and I just work on it. So for 8 hours, anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 hours straight, I just work on one song, not knowing how much time has passed. And then I'll like fine tune it over the next few days,
Right.
like mixes and things like that. And maybe there'll be some parts that are not as good the next day, but I know that I've put a lot of energy and all the right parts in there.
Am I a bad producer if I always want to eat?
I don't think so. I
I'm
don't think
always
so.
hungry.
In the studio?
Like I'll never skip a meal. I will stop whatever I'm doing to eat a meal. Because I have no energy. I lose my energy if I haven't eaten, then I'm like, and I don't have the energy to apply my brain power. But anyway, no one asked me.
I eat a lot when I'm not in the studio, so I think it makes it for the times that I'm in the studio. But like at the end of a day when I'm like crawling out of my studio, the sun's hitting me, or it's like nighttime and I'm like haven't seen
Yeah, that's
any
a good
human
feeling.
being. But afterwards I'm like, oh, I'm so hungry. Like, oh man, I need to use the restroom.
Someone just needs to cuddle her.
I have
and
like
take her to-
15 missed calls. So it's always like a rude awakening afterwards. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oops.
Well, the chat's saying that you're inspiring them to create. So
Awesome.
thank you for
Yeah.
inspiring everybody.
Thank you. I'm glad it's
Inspiring
something.
me too.
I'm
I'm getting hungry just trying to.
It's so funny. We just ate right before we came in, and I'm also like, that popcorn that we exploded looks really good right now.
Studio snacks are probably my favorite thing to talk about. So if anyone has any favorite studio snacks, let me know what they are. I'm always looking for new ones. Sometimes I'll even just spend time on my Instagram talking about my studio snacks. It's important.
You know what's a good one? Pocky. Pocky's a good. You know, like those like Japanese sticks that are covered in chocolate.
Yum.
Those are really good.
I
in the
tend
studio.
to sit in more of a salty place, like more of like a chip or a Cheeto or a hippie, but I will be open to experimenting.
Yeah, the Pocky's a good one. Or what else is good? Hummus is a good one sometimes.
Garlic breath though,
You know, if no one else is around.
that's true.
Yeah. Or if everyone's eating it, because
Yeah.
garlic is supposed to like
Yeah.
cancel each
Here,
other
have
out.
some hummus. Have some hummus.
Ruin everyone's day. It's like
Yeah.
someone's going on a date afterwards, and they're just like, damn, you smell bad.
All right, so we've got some chat. The chat's telling us their favorite snacks. We're seeing a lot of hot Cheetos.
Sour Patch
Kids, great suggestion. Famous Amos cookies. I don't know what they are either.
They are a studio staple. You know what else is a staple that I don't like is red vines. And
Oh.
people might fight me on that, but they're in every studio, including this one sometimes. I don't like red vines. It's like, it's big.
I respect that
yeah,
about you.
You can't help it. But I do like it. Like the studio always has those like Halloween mixes of like Reese's Pieces and
Yeah.
Starburst. But then the Starburst will start to infiltrate into the Reese's Pieces. So if you eat any of the chocolate that's in the jar, it always starts to taste really weird. Yeah. But then I'll eat them anyways because I just do that in here.
What is someone saying Twizzlers are better than red vines?
I think Twizzlers are.
I don't know what the difference is between those two things. In my head, red vines are Twizzlers. Oh, that was
Oh.
just Alex, the
Okay.
teleprompter guy, just
Yeah.
asserting himself on.
I think red vines are like waxier.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of either. I like chocolate.
Me too.
And
I'm all about a creamy sweet. If I'm going to sweet, it's going to be creamy, chocolatey.
yeah. Or like high chews. High chews are good studio snacks too.
They get stuck in your teeth a little bit though.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. You have to get them when they're warm.
Anyway,
What candy reminds you of this remix?
what sort of, this is like a,
It's really sweet. Like
this is like a hot chocolate.
yeah, I think so.
A mocha.
Wait, is that?
A mocha? Do you guys say mocha?
We say mocha. You
We
said
say mocha.
that reminds me of maca, which is like a new like hippie thing people
Oh,
add to their
maca, like a
coffee.
protein shake.
Yeah.
Which actually to me, maca tastes gross. I bought some, it just sits in my
Yeah,
pantry.
people put it in coffee now to help with their adrenals. It's like a new thing.
I have other ways
apparently.
of helping with my adrenals than eating that. Ooh.
Yeah, it's called sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleep helps a lot. Okay, wait, hold on, let's see.
Oh.
Hey,
This is feeling good.
so
So that's the bass she just played over there on the Korg.
That actually bothers me.
Which does that vocal?
Yeah, I think it's like slightly off.
Right.
Hold on. Let's just mute this one for now. Fix this one.
Did it bother you guys? I didn't hit me straight away, but I'm gonna listen to it again.
Or it's like almost like it can fit a better vocal, or like a better note pocket maybe.
Right.
We'll see. Or I can also harmonize it, which I should do too. This is a knot. I think. It's really
Well,
hard
that's good.
to. Maybe both of these should be done. That sounds good.
Uplifting.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Okay. Let's just,
I feel like this is getting there. Like, what else do we need besides this bass? Are you gonna have you got the main like sections down? What's left to add here?
you know, I think maybe there's always room for like effects, and there's always room for, I mean, just sequencing. It also depends on the type of song. Like, the song is really simple, but I personally think it sounds really nice like this. Just bass, just some piano. We could go in and maybe do some like arpeggiation.
Some high-end
Yeah.
tomfoolery on that Korg. I reckon there's some good high-end noises.
Oh, the one that
What's his name?
Sam Von Horn.
Sam Von Horn.
I already forgot, so he's gonna have to.
It
tell
was
us.
the. Can you tell us again? I think it was the Sims.
Patch 2 something.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oopsies.
Can you tell us again what it was, Sam?
No, that's bad.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. Oops.
Electronica. Thank you, Alex. Electronica knob preset 2.
Yeah. So there is an example. Just like, I'll go really heavy with the artificial like vocal harmonies, but. Oh yeah. I'm gonna cut this next section out because we got it. And maybe in terms of sequencing, we can also just redo. Now I'm just doing some sequencing stuff. I feel like my mind is always racing at like 1,000 miles per hour, and if I have an idea, I have to like try to do it as quickly as possible.
Otherwise it falls. Sometimes you can forget it so fast. Like, you need to write everything down sometimes to stay focused. Do you ever get ideas in the middle of the night when you're like about to fall asleep and you think of a melody and you just got to get your phone out and like quickly record it?
Also, I have like extensive insomnia lately. It's like,
oh no,
like, why do I do this? But when I sleep good, I sleep really good. But
right.
Sometimes I'm just like, what about this?
After those 15-hour studio days. what did you do just then? You muted the...
So, where?
It sort of felt like a record stop on the vocal reverb.
Yeah. That's also something, I don't know, it's just something I've always done. I think it was like this video I watched of Timberland like a long ass time ago where he doesn't just have things repeating, like at least every 4 bars, every 8 bars, every 16 bars, something has to change a little bit. Maybe just at the end, so like the turnaround. So something that I've always done is just this kind of dramatic snare reverb where I cut everything out and just have the snare. And it'll also like kind of cleanse the palette really quick for another section.
I like that idea of leaving the reverb in.
So like, I'll actually probably remove all of this. Yep. Except the vocals.
Are you thinking about like where you want this song to live as you create it, like, or just fully focused on making it whatever it is? Or do you think about playing it live? Like, oh, if I play this live, I'm gonna need this section to be more energetic, or...
I never think about playing songs live.
Okay.
When I work on music. But what I do like to do a lot, and it's fun, is I'll remix my remix or remix my own tunes. So when I play live, I retool everything. And one of the main things I do when I retool something for live is I do the mix downs differently. So this is really rolled off, right? Because it feels really comfortable. It's really nice to listen to. It's super warm. But in a live space, it's nice to hear it more sharp because you don't know the speakers are like inside the venues, and you know you want maybe the kicks to hit a little harder. And so I'll mix down the songs differently to be a little brighter, to be a little heavier. Maybe certain elements will be louder, and maybe I'll take the vocals and maybe strip them back or add them or do something different. So I have remix versions of all my songs that I play live.
I feel like you're a very thorough person. Did you spend a long time learning to mix your tracks down perfectly? Like, how did you approach that process?
I'm always still learning. Mixing stuff is so hard, and especially right before I release something or right before something goes into mastering, right? So the mastering is really just to keep all the levels equal, and ideally as an artist, you want the song to really sound as good as possible before it goes to the mastering engineer. He's not gonna like get your music and make it sound like it belongs on radio, or it's not gonna sound amazing. You're responsible for your mixes. So I will literally go crazy during that process because I'm just sitting there going, is this kick drum 1 decibel too loud? Should it go down half a decibel? It doesn't matter anymore at that point, you know? And then you're just tooling on it. You're like tooling on it so much that it actually ends up sounding worse. So I'm really good at knowing when to step away from a song when I'm making the track, like sequencing and creating. But I have a really hard time stepping away when I'm mixing. And that's where it's like, you know, like the people that'll work on tracks forever, like things like that, like it's all because of mixes for me. And I'll still listen to old tracks and be like, man, the bass is too loud, it should go down. Like I think I have a track called Darkest Dim with Gavin Turek, and I think the sub bass on it is way too loud. And I can't change that now, but like I always have weird mix FOMO or mix regret.
That's what's keeping her up at night, guys.
Yeah. Let's see.
And you're the only person thinking about that ever, right? Like nobody's ever thinking about that except for you, but it feels so real.
No one, it is. It's just me, but you're your worst critic, but I'm glad that it's that way.
That's right.
Because I'm always going to challenge myself.
Yeah, that critical thinking makes you who you are. Well, I mean, where are we up to on this track?
We're like pretty much almost done. I think what I'm doing right now is trying to sequence because there's not a lot of things going on. A lot of it is just creating a mood. So, you know, part of sequencing is just muting stuff, like muting.
And you're just going off feel at this point of or did you have a sort of song structure in mind?
No strong structure. Yeah, it just felt like it was time for something to change. Oh wait, this is a good time. Maybe we can do, what did he say? Electronica?
Electronica.
Oh, we forgot
Again, come on Alex, give it back to us. Not preset 2.
Is it this one?
Electronica knob. Is this Sam? Can we change the timing on the arpeggiator?
Tempo. Oh, it's because the arpeggiation was on.
Oh, it's kind of nice. I like that.
Maybe turn the resonance down.
Is that the right one, Sam?
He's like, you guys didn't use the sound.
Yeah. I quit this
I'm
chat.
out. All right.
Do you like it?
I don't know.
You don't have to use it.
I don't know, yeah.
The note on it is hard to decipher.
Yeah, it's also like
Detuning. or
yeah.
something.
I'll save that one for later. I
Yeah.
appreciate the recommendation. Let's see. But we can pick something up. There's a section called
Oh, Sam
D
says,
and B.
Sam says he was wrong about the patch. All good, Sam. We all make mistakes.
Maybe something is.
Yeah.
Okay, Command save. Weird filtery thing, so maybe we can use that as an effect. So we haven't added a lot of those in here. Obviously, there's
Glittery.
like, yeah, there's tons of splice packs and things like that, but it's always cool to kind of make your own. Because even after we use this, I can always change it too. It's also really loud. Hold on. Yeah.
Is that polyphonic or one?
This one is polyphonic, yeah. So it's like a analog, like it's a digital synth and it's analog modeling. So it's, you know, like super light, you know, but it sounds really good.
When you do your live shows, do you tour with this kind of gear?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have on
MIDI
occasion.
relate, like MIDI stuff.
Yeah, I'm usually on Ableton and clip mode.
Okay.
So that's how I do everything. But I have had a few moments, but I don't know. It's like there's two different sides of me. There's like the performer side and there's the music side. And I think I'm a lot more outgoing and connected to people when I'm performing. I'm very introverted and inside myself when I'm creating. It's quite different, you know.
Yeah, which
That's
is
why this is
rare
so
for-
weird right now.
But it's also really rare for one person to have both those qualities, because like a lot of producers, something that makes someone obsessive about something is the same quality that makes them probably not very social. It's a real, like, there's a lot of studies on obsessivism and what makes someone amazing in the studio, but maybe not have the same qualities that's going to make them an incredible DJ who's going to jump up on the decks and do that whole thing.
Very
It's not the same quality.
Yeah.
So it's very rare. She's a rare snow leopard.
I like a good snow leopard.
Yeah, she's rare. It's very rare. Okay, so after we get this sound going, I'd love to hear this whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's time.
It's baby.
It sounds kind of weird.
I think higher octaves were sounding better.
I didn't commit, you guys. I didn't commit. I think it's in its own key.
Ah.
Okay, I promise. Let's try something really quick.
Yeah.
Retro.
Should we play so we can see if it fits?
Where's the tempo? Oh.
Oh, I like that. That note.
That is really good.
That's cool.
Good call. And, oh, wait.
Now Alex is telling us to take our time. What do you want, Alex? Do you want us to rush it or take our time? Oh, you're just excited. I'm excited. That one. Yeah.
That's super cool.
That was cool.
I like
Love that.
That was definitely, I definitely didn't get it the first time though. That sound. It's cool too because like the tempo on this thing is manual, so it's not completely on, but it's also a little late, right? So it still has a bit of that movement.
And you can warp it. She can add timing markers in the track now that she's got it in Ableton, and add her own swing to it. Fix the swing. Give it that Toki touch.
Yeah, so one of the best aspects of Ableton is these guys.
Loop it.
Yeah.
This is sounding so good. I'm gonna cry.
All right, now we're dealing with that whole issue again. I think the song's done.
One more can opening.
Ooh, those are not in key. Wrong ones. Oops.
We're just getting the rest of the arrange happening. I can see that there's like, we're very close to getting a full arrange, I think. If you're wondering why I said that's Elton John shit, apparently Elton John, he sits at the keyboard and he just thinks, and then when he plays the chords and the vocal line at the same time. Like it all comes out at once, but he just thinks before that. Isn't that interesting? So she's like, it's very hard to arrange and write at the same time, I think. cut the main vocal out and just leave the harmonies in.
I like the harmony. Ooh, one of these
Yeah,
is
they're a bit murky.
that one. That one's just too loud. Oops. Yeah, that sounds really nice.
And there was some more vocal ad-libs in the lead.
Yeah.
Ooh. Thank you for all the love hearts. Keep the love hearts coming in the chat. Let Toki know that you're vibing this track right now. This is awesome. You're talented.
Ah, you are. I feel like I'm such a, I'm like so, I don't know. It's not very often that I work on music in front of a camera, like 10 people and you, and there's like really hot lights on me, but I'm glad I made a song. Because I really like this.
Yeah.
I think that it came out really beautifully. And then on this guy, I'll use
The old Fabfilter Timeless coming back in the track again. Love it.
Just to kind of. Maybe EQ this really quick. I'm just gonna
Gosh, those vocals. Tell us more about the vocalist. Now that we're getting to the tail end of this, I'm already obsessed with this song. It's not even out yet. I'm gonna have to like hit you up for the original track as well and for the remix.
Yay!
So tell us more about the vocalist.
So Rosehardt, I met him through another friend of mine, Todd Edwards. So
I love Todd.
Yeah. So basically, he was just introduced to me. I didn't really know too much about him, but then I got to hear his music, and I was like, oh, like he's really talented, and someone who hadn't been producing for very long. I think at the time, maybe he said a couple years or so, and I was just so amazed by his talent because, you know, you can work on music for years and not make music of that caliber, you know. And when I came out with the concept for the compilation, which this is the second iteration of it, and my label is not a money-making venture. It is just a platform to raise up artists that I really believe in and use whatever like little influence I have to kind of help them shine. And through this compilation, it's a lot of like up-and-coming artists, a lot of artists that I think deserve more attention. And it's me getting to use my curator's hat, right? Like my music loving hat, not my music making hat, you know? Because I'm still that person that's like, yeah, you know, you got to hear this new album. Have you heard this artist from wherever? Or like, you know, you're sharing music with me as well. And it's like, I love that. I love people sharing music with me and consuming it and being a fan like everyone else. And this is a way for me to be like, well, if you like the music I play when I DJ, or if you like, you know, the songs I play when I had like my BBC show, things like that, I'm still presenting that to everyone. And this time I'm going out on the ground and finding people at the Roots, and he's one of those artists. And, you know, I don't randomly just go and get coffee with strangers, you know? And I didn't talk to him in advance. You know, Todd was on the emails, or was texting me on his behalf, so I literally was on like a weird musical Tinder date. And just talking with him and hearing his vibe, he's such a kind person, and I think so much of that is,
You can hear that in his vocal.
Yeah.
You can hear his heart and
Yeah.
his sincerity in the vocal.
and yeah, you know, there's something about,
He's very Bob Ross.
I know, we all have a little bit of Bob Ross in us.
Would you release this? Like how the remix? Are you happy with how this is coming
Yeah,
together?
I think it's really great. I mean, I would finesse it a little bit more. I kind of cut my song. Well, it's like 3 minutes. Pretty good.
I've heard shorter tracks than
Yeah.
that.
So now, oh wait, it's actually shorter than 3 minutes because my song's. Oh no, wait. Let me see where I saw it. Oh, maybe if I do.
I sort of forgot about that snare.
Oh yeah.
I got no place for you, baby.
I think it'd be good with like a nice snap on it too. And there's no compression on any of the drums right now. It's just chopped. Bring the snare back. And I'm just using autofilter right now.
Standard Ableton.
Yeah, and I totally put the automation on the wrong one. Oops. There we go. You know what? In the sequencing standpoint, I actually don't want it to go back to this. I feel like it should go back. I think I like this one. I want to go back to that.
How you guys doing? You guys all right? Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good, if you're still with us. Give me a shuckers if you're feeling it. All right, I'm getting a question from you right now. Okay, this is a good question.
Yeah, hell yeah, this is coming out.
All right, so what mastering do you put on a finished track? Because right now we're getting to the tail end, the arrangement's taking place. You now want to sort of put a few mastering effects on. So
Absolutely.
what's your go-to?
So I guess what's really important is to have a limiter. Right now, because I just wanted it to be really loud, it's been redlining the entire time, which is not how you want to give it to your actual mastering engineer if that's the case. Actually, you shouldn't be mastering your own music that loud, but I have a folder of all my favorite mixing plugins, and
Which is such a life hack to
Yeah.
have like it all ready to go so you can quickly get it on there.
so the main thing that I do is just put a limiter, and that's it. I want to make sure that my song sounds good with just that. I don't need to put any extra compression on the master, nothing like that. Everything sounds good straight out the bat. So as long as I believe in it, all I do is just put the master, because you do want it to sound loud enough. I use Isotope Ozone. Everyone loves it. I love it. It's great. It's kind of an all-in-one tool. I'm only using the maximizer, which is basically like a limiter. I always set it to the IRC 4, and I have it on the transient setting, just so it does emphasize the transients. If you set it too high, it'll start to distort the sound as well. But let me check how loud my song is already. Loud. So I already have my track really bricked, which is not advised. I don't do that at home. But in this environment, usually I have it pretty quiet, like -6 or 7 LUFS. And then when I do it, like -6 or 7 dB lower, when I'm looking at the ideal loudness, there's always an ongoing conversation with lots of producers and musicians. It's called the loudness war. How loud do you want your track? Do you want to sacrifice, dynamics to make your track louder? And it works really well if you do like drum and bass, where you can like carve out your spectrum so that the kick stays here and all the high melodies stay here, and none of those sounds ever compete with each other, because the louder you get, the more that each sound needs its own space in your spectrum, right? I don't make really aggressive music, so I tend to have my songs not as loud. Like a super loud banging like Excision or like drum and bass, whatever, that stuff can be up to like -4 LUFS, which is really, really loud, or even -5. My music tends to sit more around -7, and that's still like kind of loud. There's people that even master this stuff even quieter than that. So yeah, right now it's sitting at -6 because
We're cranking.
yeah, it's a little loud, but sounds good. As long as every element of your song has its own space, then your mix should sound good. But it's harder to carve that out the louder things get.
How did you learn to mix? Was it just trial and error? Did you read books? Did you do a course?
It is trial and error. It is listening to music in the car. It is reading online.
There's a lot of great forums. Much
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like Consequence of Sound. There's like, if you want to learn about gear, there's like gear slots and all these things. YouTube tutorials are really helpful. And also just like your peers, like just the way how I'm sharing information with everyone out there. Someone shares information with me, I take that information and share it with someone else. Someone else might share that with whatever. It's this community of shared knowledge. The smarter we all are, or the more we share our knowledge, the smarter we all are as a group. And it helps us all create the best music. And, in the past, it's been kind of like, you shouldn't see what I'm using, or like this stuff or whatever.
Very secretive.
Yeah, and it's not conducive to an artistic environment. I mean, it's true, people get really competitive because they're like, if I'm successful, like I can't let you know my secrets because then you might knock me off or whatever, it's not about competition. People have 2 ears that can listen to an infinite amount of music, and sharing knowledge is great. I think it raises the bar. Music now is at such a high caliber from a technical level, and even if you have all the knowledge and your friend has all the knowledge, it doesn't mean they'll make better music than you.
Or the same track. Like even if someone has the same knowledge as you, they're never going to make the same thing as you. So you shouldn't worry about sharing secrets like that. Can we quickly review, like from the top, how we got to this point, from we just had a vocal and now we have a whole track? How did that happen? I blacked out. And now it's the end of the show and we have a whole track.
I kind of blocked out too.
Do you guys know what happened?
I mean, do you ever have that where sometimes you make a track and you check it out the next day and you're like, I don't know how I made this. I think I was possessed by something.
The spirits coming through us.
I know. I mean, it is really primal in that way, right? Like music is something so deep within you and it's so much feeling, and everyone approaches it differently because some people might make music from a technical perspective. But for me, when I'm making it, it's just all the ideas are happening and I put them all down, like in those large blocks, and then I figure out if they're good or bad ideas the next day, you know? So yeah, you know, we had the original song. I had pulled out all the instrumental. I didn't want to use any of it. And so I had this vocal, and I created just 2 chords, really simple, with the first 4 bars of the lyrics or the a cappella. The same 4 bars did not work for the second group of lyrics, and
there was a bit of pitchy stuff.
And so what I did is, I mean, there's 2 ways. I could have either found other chords to fit, or I just pitched the vocals. So that's what I did. I pitched the vocals, and I basically made this song and my vision kind of collide with each other, you know? I turned the a cappella into what I needed it to be to get the song, and it did require kind of manipulating it, but that's just how I remix songs, you know?
And you really did stick. There's a lot of integrity of the original vocal that carries through. It wasn't like you took it to a whole new place.
No, absolutely not.
Slight adjustment.
Yeah, and in this case, the goal in the beginning too was to present the song in a different way while maintaining the heart. And the original song was very uplifting and kind of upbeat. And my song, the beat, like the energy is still upbeat, but the chords are a bit more pensive. And if you really listen to the lyrics, they're really romantic. They come from a very sensitive place. So I made it a slightly sensitive song. You know, something that you can listen to with a loved one in the car when you're by yourself. And I find the music I like to listen to the most are usually songs that I can chill with, you know. And
good driving music. I love a good driving track.
Yeah. And so that's also what dictated the kind of sounds I chose. I didn't choose anything really harsh, like lo-fi drums, you know. The shakers are kind of low. Even the higher resonant sounds, like our cowbell goblet and the shakers, the salt shaker, you know, they're kind of lower in the mix. So they're present, but the song doesn't have a lot of high end at all throughout the entire thing. And I think that's what gives it that softer, like analog kind of body to it. And yeah, I think I just started adding layer by layer, right? We had the most amount of fun trying to mic all the stuff.
We did our mic, we did our shaker work, we did our goblin cowbell, we did our can opening on the drop. We should have a listen through the whole track. I mean, obviously there's always bits and pieces to add and take away. This is just the sketch of...
Yeah, absolutely.
And while we're playing this, you guys should think about tell us where you would listen to this song. Would you be on the beach? Would you be in the car driving to the beach? Would you be in your backyard sunbaking?
I'm gonna cheat by like sequencing it as we're listening to the song too.
Tell me where you where you want to listen to this track. And how does it make you feel? How do you feel about this experience of making a track like this?
Very unique.
You did so well though.
You did well. This is your first one, so I'm glad I got to be here. Hopefully.
You made it easy. You just did it. I just stood here and she just like brrr.
I needed the cowbell assistance.
Anytime you need it. I'm only a phone call away.
That's you.
50% of the track, just like that.
Yeah, I know. like sweating in here. This is hard work, you guys.
You did it. Baby. I still want to know where you guys would listen. Alex, tell me where everybody's going to listen to this track. Give me the info. If you felt good about this remix, give her a little round of applause in the chat,
Hey.
in the studio.
Thank you, guys.
We got some Malibu vibes here. We got a late night drive, the beach.
Bob Ross
They want to
remix.
hear that Bob Ross remix. Anna Lunoe here.
This is TOKiMONSTA.
If you would like to see more of this kind of content, then go ahead and subscribe to the Red Bull Remix Lab YouTube channel.